which, oh goodness. So the Mel meter is named after his daughter Melissa, which I thought, wow, right? There's a K2, which is the EMF meter. Again, EMFs are electromagnetic fields, which are, they say are what capture, like you can, what paranormal when it's coming into your place, like if it's there, you'll get those signals. There's things called dowsing rods, and I remember when I was a kid, my dad would show me how to use dowsing rods. There's just an L-shaped rod to help you find water underground. And they used them like in the war to find like things underground, like maybe bombs or like whatever those things are that they put out in fields, landmines.
Yes, and there's just like the old timey dowsing rod. It was like a stick that went into like a Y-shaped stick, and you'd hold the Y part like upside down. And then
they're two separate sticks.
Yeah, no, old school ones was a Y stick, and it was like you'd hold it, and then it would point down when you would get to. Well, but now it's like you can use they're usually cross. Metal, and you hold them.
And that's what my dad had shown me how to do when I was a kid. But people use them to communicate with spirits now, like yes or no questions. And when it crosses or goes apart, it's a yes or no, and they have to kind of calibrate it, like test it out to see if which way is yes or no for each time you use them. But kind of interesting.
And pendulums work like that.
Pendulums, same. Yeah, they're like a way to communicate with spirits. And I've seen a lot, and I don't know if anyone has TikTok, but lives on TikTok where people are using those dowsing rods to communicate with spirits. People ask questions and they kind of cool to watch sometimes. Yeah. They also use these things called REM pods, which are radiating electromagnetic electromagneticity.
Electromagneticity.
Think that word I can't say. Yeah.
It's not REM the band.
No, it's not REM the band.
I love REM. I
would love to have an REM pod where you just go in and there's REM.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome because they're not together anymore. So Michael Stipe does some weird stuff now, but
he might do that.
I've loved them since high school.
I know.
I saw them in concert in college, and it was one of the highlights of my youth. I would say it was wonderful. But you digress.
Yes.
You digress.
I didn't. You did.
I digress. Yes.
Yes. So these they can tell when temperature changes and like different things happen in the room, and they'll light up like red lights if the temperature goes up, or blue. It has to be at like a sudden change, like a 10 degrees change. The thing, and I'm sorry, but explain to me how a room can change at 10 degrees that quickly without it being something paranormal. I don't know what else could be. They use something called a static dome, which is triggered by static. It picks up on static fields not visible to the eye up to 3 feet from where it is, and it'll show you the direction it's coming from. The theory is that when there's a manifestation happening, static starts to build up in that area. It's not static. We can't put off static on our own. We have to have interactions with things to get static electricity. That's why we get zapped when we touch stuff, but it's the static at our feet across the floor. It's not just our bodies doing it. So if there's a static thing happening out of nowhere, it's like, what's that? How's that? They have this thing, actually, I think is the creepiest thing in the whole wide world. It's called the Paranormal Music Box. It's something they call a trigger object. It's something that's familiar to maybe ghosts. You to find it in like the 1800s, or because music boxes have been around forever. It's something everyone knows from generations, right? And you put it out, and it's crazy. So it puts out this ultrasound that bounces off a fixed object. So you set it up and you have it bouncing off a wall in a room, say, or a chair, or whatever you have set up. If anything goes between that, about that ultrasound that's happening, it will trigger the creepy music to play.
Don't you remember when we were young and we trespassed at the reform school, and they had this well, and you could hear a music box
inside it.
It was the creepiest moment of my.
It was super creepy.
It was like, and we only know that because a car was coming, so we all hit the deck because we were trespassing. Yeah. We were trying to hide, and we're laying on the ground, and we're all quiet, and you could hear this music coming out of this well. And it was creepy. It was.
So that's all I could think of when I.
Me too.
When I read about these.
That's all I could think of was that creepy music from the well. I'm like, oh my god.
They also do something called a spirit box, which is an electronic voice recorder. So it's a way to kind of communicate with spirits, using these radio frequencies, and you're able to pick up sound, and they use this in some techniques they use to communicate with spirits. Another cool thing they have is called a Boo Bear, and their nickname is Teddy Krueger, which is very cute.
Which is yes, amazing.
It's a very interactive thing, so it's another trigger object, obviously, like geared towards kids. That will actually interact with them. It can sense movement. It can sense temperature changes, or vibration. So, like, it can tell if something touches its hand, its body. It can change. It will talk and say when the temperature, it's cold, and
they have a creepy video of this bear.
I'm going to talk about it.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's terrifying.
Don't say
I was terrified. Yes.
I have a perfect spot.
I know, but I'm just saying, it terrified me. I had a nightmare.
There's I think it's a Phasma box, which is like a spirit box. Same kind of deal. There's a SLS cam, which is a thermal camera. Structured. The SLS is structured light sensor camera. It captures spirits' forms that cannot be seen with the eye. And it works in complete darkness, and it like makes these stick-like figures where something shows up. And I saw a picture of that. That was creepy.
Yeah.
Something called a Ovilus, which it changes in temp and magnetic fields caused by spirits, draw audio response. So they're able to, it apparently is programmed with all these different key things, like sentences, syllables, things like that. It's able to use the magnetic field around it to communicate, which blows my mind that that's even a thing that was invented. Like, I don't even understand it. And then they also use a network video recorder, which just records and saves on a hard drive so that they can rewatch all the video. So they set up their cameras. He said he brings all his equipment goes with him. They set their cameras up. They set up their spirit box. They set up their, ways to capture the EMFs. Yeah, EMFs. And he said the fun part is going there and like doing all that stuff. But the afterwards is where the work really comes in, because they have to listen to hours of video and audio. And
from every device, from every room that it's been in. And so, it's just the two of them. And they're just like, and you have to, some of these videos they shared with us, like, you don't catch things the first time through.
You have to watch it.
You really have to watch it. You're like, wait a minute, what was that? And you look back, and then you see it, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But, like, I watched one video, like, 3 times before I noticed
what it was.
Right.
So I can't even imagine. And, like, the audio that they've captured, how they are able, like, must take them hours of listening over and over again to hear, because a lot of times these voices or disembodied sounds are very quiet, but you hear it. Once you hear it, you cannot not hear it. Like, right. But it's like the initial trying to hear it. You have to, like, I couldn't hear it without headphones on. Right.
So if you're listening to any of these sound clips we're going to post, make sure you're wearing headphones and you're in a semi-quiet place. Because, like, when I was trying to listen to it on my phone, I couldn't hear anything. But, like, once you put headphones on and listen
I was like, oh my God.
And then you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
I just heard it.
Yeah, so that's the equipment. They use all that stuff. They take it all with them. Like I said, he kind of walked us through how they set things up in different rooms, capture video from different things. And the places they've gone to, it's very cool because you can go there and set up. You have to pay money, but you stay there for the full night to capture stuff.
That's fun in itself.
I know. The fact, I would just want to go and spend the night.
And be terrified.
Because
that would be great.
Yeah.
Because that's like, even as a kid, I loved being scared. I still love it.
I love it too.
As long as I know it's not like, I'm not scared because some jerk's trying to kill me.
Yeah.
Ghosts are scary fun.
Yeah. I don't want a serial
Home
killer.
intruders are scary, evil.
No, we don't like that.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
You don't want that kind of scary.
No. But they talked about, and we asked them, like, have you ever felt like you brought something back with you? Or, like, they say they do not do Ouija boards. They feel like that could invite demonic things, and they don't want any part of that. They don't do those on site. They, just communicate, like, through the equipment they have. They do bless all their equipment before going in. They do ask that no one comes home with them. Like, they say those things out loud, and they say, when you're communicating with spirits, that you should put those boundaries right out there. Like, we want to communicate with you. You cannot attach yourself to us, our equipment, blah, blah, blah. And they go through that blessing, which, probably is really important to do.
I would think so, yeah.
I know that I've done Ouija before. And I know that they say that you really need to put that out there. Like, want to communicate. We're not inviting anything dark.
Even in Wicca, when you do like a circle,
yeah,
you have to put that good out there.
Like, you gotta put your boundaries out there, basically, right. Saying, like, with a healthy relationship, you gotta have boundaries. Same with communing with the dead. Okay? Put it out there. I don't want any dark spirits. I don't want to bring any darkness to me. Only light. That kind of stuff. So they do that before every investigation they do, because they don't want to bring that home. They said they thankfully have never brought anything to their home back with them, haven't felt anything dark with them after something. So that's good. So one of the places they go is called Post Town Elementary. And I just want to talk about the history of this place because it's kind of interesting. It was made a school in 1937 and ran until 2000, really. Before the school was built, the trains were passing through that area all the time. And there were several train casualties and crashes.
Trains and automobiles.
Yes. On July 25th, 1891, employees of the National Cash Register headed back from a company picnic. The passenger car collided with a freight, and 4 people died and 50 were injured. Can you imagine coming back from a picnic and that happening? Oh my God. Then this is crazy. Another July 4th, 1910, passenger train ran off schedule because they had to do a detour. When trains, especially back in the then you didn't have cell phones to text, say, hey, we're off schedule. If you got off schedule, it could really mess things up because there's other trains on the same tracks and there's only one way to go, one way or the other, and you can't turn off a train track. So because this happened, it was too late. The freight train that was coming did not see them soon enough to be able to stop, and they collided with the passenger train. The 2 cars closest to the engine had the worst injuries and many deaths. Where the school is located, they made, because there wasn't a hospital nearby, and the trains that could take them there were crashed. They had to make a makeshift triage right there at site. 19 people died instantly, 36 total before they could get to a hospital. There's a lot of trauma that happened there, and a lot of the energy is probably trapped in this place because of the deaths that happened in such a tragic way. And then there's this time where a girl, when the school was built, there's a girl named Sarah. She fell 3 floors down a stairwell, and she succumbed to her injuries. And we're going to put a little sound clip here. They were in the room. I think they said it was a dry goods room. They were in the room, and they said, they were doing their audio capturing sound. And we're going to insert here. I'm going to see if you can hear what is being said.
Put your headphones on.
Put your headphones on right now.
Harm you in any way?
Are they here?
That's where Matt keeps.
Okay, so if you didn't hear it, I want you to go back and listen, because it took me several times with my headset on to be able to capture this. So you can distinctly hear, if you have your headphones on, screaming. And the screaming is sounding like someone's falling. So that energy is there, and it keeps looping and looping of that sound, I think, because the girl fell, and I'm sure there were screams. And it sounds like screams, it's starts louder and then gets softer, like something falling, like someone falling. And it gave me goosebumps. I didn't hear it until I put my headphones on. So, I hope you were able to hear that. If not, go back and rewind, do it again. And then, right now, the school in 2000s, a couple bought the school and live there, and they turned part of it into where they live. I think someone else owns it right now, but they live on site still because they couldn't, it was expensive to redo the whole thing. But you rent out, paranormal investigators can go there and rent it out. It has a lot of activity being caught there by a lot of different people. And they've gone there several times. And like I said, they've captured different things while there. Another big place that they go to a lot, and they've gotten a lot of stuff, and people everywhere have gotten a lot of stuff, is the Rose Opera House. They've captured a lot of visual and audio stuff there.
The visual stuff is really cool.
It's the oldest running theater in Kentucky. It was built in 1871. It was called the Aeolian, I think that's how you say it, Hall of Music Association. In 1873, it was bought